Okay, so how can you take your source evaluation criteria and use it to help you find better sources on Google? I want to show you a few different strategies that might help. The first strategy I'd like to show you is actually bypassing the normal Google search box and instead go to the Google Advanced Search. And on this page, you will see a lot of different search options that can help you narrow your search. So I'm going to scroll down first and show you some of the options at the bottom. So a couple of things that could be really useful for you are that you can limit by the last time the page was updated. So if you have a topic that is very current and you're having trouble finding recently updated sources about it, this option can save you a lot of time because you can limit your search to websites that were updated this week, this month, or in the past year. The other option I wanted to show you is a little bit more tricky, and that is the one right here, where you can limit by the site or the domain. And so you can see over here it explains that this is a way where you can limit just to websites that have a specific domain name, like .edu, .org, or .gov. So this can be a really powerful tool to sort out some of those commercial websites, especially if you're getting a lot of things that are .com that you just don't want to use. But the reason that it's dangerous is because there really isn't, for most of these domain names, anyone who is actually approving who is assigned to these domains. So probably the biggest example is .org. A lot of people think that all .org websites are fantastic. Most of them are pretty good, but the truth is that anybody can get a .org website, so you still want to be very picky about which ones you use and make sure that you are investigating them thoroughly to decide if that organization sounds like a credible source for what you are researching. Okay, so I'm going to go back up to the top. And this is where you can start thinking about your keywords. One strategy that can be helpful is to think about keywords that other teachers would use or scholars in the field that you're looking for would use. And that should help you get more academic sources. Another strategy that I think is very useful is you can put an exact phrase in quotes. So if we want to search for something about the Revolutionary War, we can put that in quotes. That keeps those two words together. It should really help you save time. And so I'm just going to do a really basic search and just say I want to find some history websites about the Revolutionary War. So we'll hit enter because I want to show you a couple other strategies that will help. So when you start looking at your results, you want to be picky about which ones you choose. So you'd actually want to go to these and look at them. But I want to show you another example of something that you can do. So suppose you see this site for the timeline of the American Revolutionary War and you think, oh, that sounds really useful. So the first thing you want to do is go to that site and we want to take a look at it. But before you really dig into the content of the site, the first thing you want to do is figure out who created this site, why did they create it, and is it credible enough for me to use? So we're going to scroll down, and usually towards the bottom, or sometimes at the top, there'll be a menu, and it will either have an About This Website page, or it'll do something like this, where they tell you who created it, tells you a little bit about this organization, and then it gives us a link to their homepage. So I would go out to their homepage and see what else you can find out about them. So here's a link to who they are, and we could read a little bit more about them, and you could read this and decide what you think, if this looks like a credible historical organization that you would want your students to look at. But this is not the only way that you should decide. I also recommend that you do something called lateral reading, which is when you are going to go out and search Google for this organization. Because what we want to do is we want to find what other people think about it. So they're going to tell us that they're fantastic. We want to know what other people think about this organization. So you can do a quick Google search and we can find the Wikipedia page about them and see if that agrees with what they're telling us about themselves, see if we can get any more information, see if this helps us decide. And you can do that for any site that you find, is try to find out more about it in one or two other sources before you make your decision. And hopefully this will make it easier for you to find credible sources to use.